Hello everybody, it's Mr. McKeever, ready to create another eTry video. Hope you like my new hat. It's a Mr. Russell original. It's part of Mother Russia's new collection that exists. Also in the background you hear the wonderful Ludwig van Beethoven. He is performing his 5th symphony for us. Alright, so what you're going to do today, folks, is you're going to play around with tables. This is going to be something pretty actually fantastic. So go ahead and go to the Moodle page and go ahead and bring up eTry 12 from the Excel workbooks. Save it with your name, come back to this beautiful page right here, but in the meantime we're going to listen to some Ludwig van. That's just fantastic. Can you believe he was kind of deaf throughout most of his life? Alright, I'm going to assume you got there by now, and at this point, we're going to go ahead and move on. So after you come in, you're going to go ahead and save this with your name up in the top corner. Just as you've done before, file, save as, your name, everything's great. From there, we're also going to insert some headers. So go ahead, let's create our headers. We're going to have our date over here. You're going to put your name right here. And you're going to go ahead and put the file right over here. Simple enough. You've done this 100 times in the past. Shouldn't be anything new. So let's go back to our original view. At some point in time, it will let me actually click this. There we go. Alright, so we have a bunch of information here. We're going to talk about ice cream. It's going to be pretty fantastic. I hope you guys are stoked about this concept. Go ahead and click something in here. It doesn't matter what it is. And what we're going to do is play around with tables. So let's go up to insert here, and you're going to insert a table. Notice that there's a box that exists around this entire chunk of information now. It looks at everything that you have there and assumes what you want in your table. And if you look at this, it actually has our little static references that exist before the dollar signs. Go ahead and hit OK, and it's going to create us a beautiful table. Now this is pretty spiffy looking, but there's a lot of different options as to what you want your table to look like. So let's go over here and you can pick whatever one you want. Whatever finds your interest and floats your boat. I'm going to go with that guy. I think that looks pretty freaking cool. Once you've done that, go ahead and save it in case anything crashes. Life will be good. When you get done saving, go ahead and click somewhere over here in this F column. And what you're going to do is you're going to create an equation. This is actually something that's really cool with tables in Microsoft Excel. So if I create equal sign, and we're going to use brackets this time. They're underneath your plus sign and everything on your keyboard. Type in gallons, run 1. Close the bracket. Plus sign. Gallons, run 2. Bracket, plus sign. Bracket, gallons, run 3, bracket. And notice how it changes each one to a different color. It's because it's actually pulling it from the information that you see right here. And then if I hit enter, it's going to create an entirely new column for me. It's going to be a sum of everything in this one for gallons 1, 2, and 3. Same here. And look at this beautiful column that we have here. Now what we want to do real quick is we don't want to make a gallons run 4. We're going to make this gallons run total. So go ahead and fix that real quick. Then resize it so that you can actually see the name that you have over there. And now we have a beautiful, beautiful table right here. Something else that we can do, which is actually really neat. So now that we have all of this stuff done, let's go up to our table tools. And over here in our table tools, there's a lot of different options that we can do. We can resize, we can create our different styles, but we can also create a total row. So go ahead and create a total row here, and you notice on the bottom here it creates a total row, and it actually creates a sum of all of these in our gallons run total, which is actually pretty fantastic. But it doesn't just do that. We can play around with a lot of different stuff here. What if we wanted to create averages? Averages of everything in our run right here. See this little arrow that pops up? If you click on it, and there's a bunch of different numbers that you can create, different formulas. So we're going to choose average here. And notice how it creates the average of everything in this run. But that's a kind of obnoxious number. So we're going to go over here, go back to home, and we are going to move the decimal points. We're going to decrease it so it looks more like a normal number. So our decrease of 0. So now it's our regular number of 380. I want you to create an average for each one of these. Let's go create an average for this one. Do the same thing. Decrease. Create an average of this one. Decrease. And this we're actually going to change to. We're going to go from total, and we're going to make it an average also. And notice again, it makes the average of everything that we have, and we're going to decrease. In doing that, we probably should also rename this to average. Just type in average. It wants to create an equation out of averages. It's not exactly something that's good. Alright, so this is our average row. These are our totals of each category. This is actually a pretty neat setup that we have right here. It does all the math for us. We just have to format it how we want it to. So go ahead and save over here. Save your program. Life is great. Something else we're going to play around with real quick though is what if we wanted to sort these in a different way? Is that possible? And it actually is. So we're actually going to try this right here. See our little base? So highlight this right here, and we can go over here to sort. Sort and filter. We're going to sort it from A to Z. So maybe we want to have all the chocolates together and all the vanillas together and all that fun stuff. And if we notice this, it changes everything. But wait, oh no. Did our numbers change the same? Oh wait, they did. Haha, look at that. That's actually really cool. So if we change this here and we sort by A to Z, it rearranges all of our numbers with it. So the chocolate stays with the chocolate chocolate chip, wow, that's a lot of chocolate, stays with the chocolate chip, and everything else, and it actually organizes things quite a bit better. By the way, does anyone actually ever eat butter brickle ice cream? Like that sounds awful. Now strawberry cheesecake sounds fantastic, but butter brickle is just, oh. So now that we've sorted things, it's actually a really neat idea. What if we wanted to change stuff though? We can actually go over here to find and select, and what if we wanted to replace? So we're going to find the word other, and we're going to replace it with, how about super fantastic? Just because I can. Go ahead, hit that, replace it with that, replace all. Look at that right here. It's going to tell you that it's made 2 replacements. We're going to close out of here, and you can resize this, and we now have super fantastic replaced every time that we have the word other. Now this is a key when it comes to using find and select. So if I were to go over here again and wanted to replace something, and I put super fantastic, but I make one change, put maybe a space at the end of it, and try to hit replace, it's not going to be able to do it. You have to have the exact thing you are trying to replace. Even an extra space is going to cause it to have an error. So don't let that happen. Once you're done with that, go ahead and save it. And we're going to... Alright, so the last thing we're going to play around with today is actually something called the now function. It's really unique actually. So we go up here, we have our week of 6/12 or whatever. Well, what if we wanted an exact date and time whenever this was open? And it's actually something called the now function. So we're going to replace week of 6/12 with equal sign, the word now, shocker, I know, and then open and close parentheses. If you do that, it's going to create the actual date and the time that this is open at any point in time, which is actually pretty fantastic. So now that we have this here, anytime someone opens this up, it's going to pull up the date, it's going to pull up the time it was open. This could be used to track how you're using the information, how it's being played out. All of that is a really neat idea. So we're going to leave that there and kind of pay attention to it as it goes along, because it should be following along with the clock at the bottom of your screen too. If this changes to 9:48, that should change to 9:48 up there. Let's go ahead and look at this. Should our now function exist? If I hit this again, 9:48. Aha, this is pretty fantastic. Alright, from here, we're actually going to call it a day. You go ahead and save. And what we're going to do now is you guys are going to try the next E project in the folder. The only thing that should be in the folder is the correct E project. I want you guys to try this on your own, drop it in the Dropbox, and once we're done with that, take the opportunity and time in class today to work on your corrections for your real life projects. As of right now, I only have a couple people who's actually submitted anything for corrections. So let's go ahead and knock those out, folks. Stay classy, and you guys have a good day.